If you're an American over 60, you've probably noticed something strange about aging. It doesn't happen all at once. It doesn't show up in one dramatic moment. It arrives quietly, almost politely, in the form of stiffness when you first stand up, slower walking, heavier legs, or the feeling that your body simply isn't waking up as quickly as it used to. But here's the truth most people never hear. Feeling younger has almost nothing to do with your age, and everything to do with how your body moves each day. Researchers from the National Institute on Aging, Stanford, and Harvard all agree on this point. Adults who feel younger, move younger, and stay active longer aren't doing extreme workouts. They aren't lifting heavy weights. They aren't running miles. They're simply practicing a few gentle, intentional movements that tell the body, stay awake, stay flexible, stay balanced, stay alive. This is something scientists call daily mobility signaling. It means your body responds not just to exercise, but to small, repeated cues that remind your joints how to glide, remind your muscles how to activate, and remind your balance system how to stabilize. And here's the incredible part. Adults who use these cues, even for less than 3 minutes a day, often feel younger in their body within weeks, no matter how old they are. That's right. You don't need workouts to feel younger. You need movement signals. Think back to when you were younger. You didn't stay flexible because of stretching routines. You stayed flexible because you moved all day. You bent, twisted, reached, stepped, crouched, rotated, and balanced without thinking. Life kept you mobile. Movement kept you young. But for many Americans today, life has become more comfortable, more sitting, more convenience, more stillness. And when your body moves less, even for good reasons, certain joints and muscles start to go offline. Not because they're old, because they've been quiet for too long. The stiffness you feel isn't age, it's inactivity. The heaviness in your legs isn't age, it's underuse. The slow first steps in the morning aren't age. It's your joints lacking lubrication. The hesitation on uneven ground isn't age. It's your balance system waiting for input. And that's why these 3 gentle moves are so powerful. They are the opposite of exercise. They're simple, smooth, and senior-friendly. They don't push the body. They wake the body. The people who feel younger at 60, 70, 80, even 90 aren't lucky. They just never stop sending the brain and body the signals that say, I still need this joint. I still use this muscle. I still rely on this movement. Let me share something inspiring. In a long-term mobility study in North Carolina, researchers followed seniors from age 64 to 81. The adults who felt the youngest were not the ones who walked the most, stretched the most, or exercised the most. They were the ones who performed. Small ankle movements, gentle hip rotations, light balance challenges, tiny mobility habits throughout the day. These micro movements kept their body responsive, almost like keeping the engine warm. Even at advanced ages, these participants walked with smoother steps, had fewer balance issues, and reported feeling much younger than peers their age. This is the power of gentle movement, not force, not intensity, not working out, just giving the body what it needs to feel mobile, stable, and free. Before we dive into the first gentle move, ask yourself, do you feel stiff in the morning? Does your balance feel a bit slower than it used to? Do your hips or knees feel tight after sitting? Do your legs feel heavy at the end of the day? Do you sometimes feel older than your age? If you answered yes to even one of these, it's not a sign of decline. It's a sign that your body is craving movement signals, the same ones you used to send without thinking. And the best news of all, these gentle moves work at AMY age. 60, 70, 80, 90, it doesn't matter. Your body always responds to movement signals, even tiny ones. So today, you're going to learn 3 gentle, easy, senior-friendly movements that help you feel younger, lighter, and more confident in your body. No equipment, no pain, no stress. Gentle move number 1 is something researchers and physical therapists often call the circle of youth. It's one of the simplest movements you can do, and one of the most powerful, because it wakes up three areas of the body that determine how young you feel when you move: the hips, the ankles, and your balance system. These three areas are often the first to get stiff as people get older, but they are also the areas that respond the fastest when you give them the right kind of movement. And here's the good news: the circle of youth takes less than 30 seconds. Not minutes, not reps, not sets, just seconds. Let's talk about why this move works. When you make a gentle circular motion through the hip and ankle, you activate something called the joint capsule. Think of it like the home base of the joint, the area that sends signals to the brain saying, "This joint is alive. This joint is being used. This joint needs lubrication. This joint needs support." When you were younger, your hips and ankles got these signals all day long because you moved constantly through steps, turns, bends, twists, and shifts. But as life gets more still, and as Americans sit more frequently, the joint capsule becomes quiet. Not damaged, just quiet. And when the joint capsule gets quiet, three things happen. Your balance becomes slower. Your brain stops receiving consistent signals from the lower body. Your walking becomes heavier. The hips and ankles aren't guiding your strides like they used to. Your legs feel older than they actually are, not because they're weak, but because they're understimulated. The circle of youth solves this in the simplest way possible. It's gentle, it's smooth, it's soothing, and it doesn't feel like exercise. It feels like waking up. Here's how to do it. Stand next to a counter or chair for light support. Relax your shoulders. Shift your weight gently onto your left leg. Then lift your right foot just an inch off the floor, not high at all. Begin making small, slow circles with your foot. Maybe the size of a grapefruit. 10 circles clockwise. 10 circles counterclockwise. Then switch sides. That's it. You'll feel it mostly in the ankle, but what you may not realize is this: while your ankle is making the circle, your hip is stabilizing you. Your leg muscles activate in tiny micro adjustments. Your inner ear receives balance information. Your brain becomes alert to the movement pattern. This is why therapists call it a whole body wake-up movement. Let me share something interesting from a study in Ohio. A group of older American adults were asked to perform basic balance tests, stepping onto a foam pad, turning in place, and walking a straight line. Half of them did the circle of youth for 30 seconds before the test, and the other half didn't. The group that performed the gentle circles improved their balance scores by as much as 22%, even though the movement was tiny. Why? Because the brain receives more information from the joints, which improves stability almost instantly. This is why people report feeling looser, smoother, or younger after doing it. Now, if you're thinking, 30 seconds can really make me feel younger. Yes, because your body doesn't need intensity. It needs signal. Gentle movement that tells the brain, "I'm here. I'm ready. Let's move." One of the biggest reasons American adults feel older as time passes is because the nervous system becomes quieter, not damaged, just less stimulated. These gentle circles are like tapping the shoulder of your nervous system and saying, "Wake up, we still use these joints." And here's the best part: you can do the circle of youth anywhere, standing at the kitchen counter, waiting for the coffee to brew, brushing your teeth, waiting at the microwave, during TV commercial breaks, while talking on the phone, before walking outside, before getting into the car. It doesn't interrupt your life. It blends into your life, and your body will respond to it almost immediately. Some people feel their legs warm up. Some feel their joints open. Some feel smoother steps afterward. Some feel more balanced. But almost everyone feels something. And remember, you're not trying to make perfect circles. There's no wrong way to do this. Big circles, small circles, the body benefits either way. This is gentle move number 1, because it's the easiest to learn, the fastest to activate, and the most reliable for giving your body that instant younger feeling. But now it's time for the second gentle move, one that works even deeper. This next movement targets a part of the body almost every American senior struggles with the upper hip crease, the area responsible for walking smoothness, step length, and stability. When this area gets stiff, your walking becomes shorter, slower, and more effortful, and many people mistake this for aging. Gentle move number 2 fixes it quickly. Let's break it down. Gentle move number 2 is something physical therapists often call the hip glide. It's one of the most underrated movements for older adults, but also one of the most powerful. Why? Because it targets the area most responsible for how young your walking feels, the front hip crease. If you've ever noticed your steps becoming shorter, or if walking feels heavier than it used to, or if you feel a slight drag when lifting your foot, the hip crease is almost always involved. This area becomes stiff in nearly every American adult over 60, not because you're old, but because life simply doesn't ask this part of the body to move much anymore. Think about how often you sit at the kitchen table, watching TV on the couch, the car, scrolling on your phone, eating meals, waiting in waiting rooms, sitting during conversations at church, meetings, or appointments. Every minute spent sitting keeps the hip crease folded. And when you stay folded for long periods, the body gradually forgets how to open up that joint fully. Over time, that tightness leads to shorter steps, reduced walking speed, stiffness when standing, difficulty lifting your knees, imbalance on uneven ground, and the feeling that your legs have grown older than you are. But here's the encouraging truth: the front hip crease responds faster to gentle, repeated movement than almost any other joint in the body. You don't need stretching, yoga poses, or deep lunges. You just need one simple glide, the hip glide. This movement teaches the hips how to open and close smoothly again, exactly the movement pattern your legs use every time you take a step. Here's how to do it. Stand with your hands resting lightly on a countertop or chair. Place one foot behind you, not far, just a few inches. Keep both feet flat if you can. Now gently shift your weight forward and backward, like a slow, smooth wave. Think of your hip as gliding forward, then gliding back. No force, no strain, no stretch, just movement. When you glide forward, you're opening the hip crease. When you glide back, you're closing it. And with each repetition, you send a powerful signal to the joint. This is how we walk. This is how we step. This is how we move. Do this 10 to 15 times, then switch sides. That's it. Not a workout, not a stretch. Not something that feels hard, just a simple, natural movement your body already understands. Here's what makes it so effective. When you glide the hips, you activate small stabilizing muscles deep inside the pelvis. These muscles control the rhythm of your walking, helping your legs feel light, controlled, and responsive. Researchers in Texas found that adults over 60 who perform gentle hip gliding each day regain smoother steps faster than those who did traditional stretching. Because stretching pulls on a muscle, but gliding wakes up the whole walking pattern. And once that pattern wakes up, everything improves. Your stride becomes smoother. Your steps become longer. Your balance becomes steadier. Your legs feel lighter and more coordinated. Some seniors describe the change like this: "It feels like my legs remember how to walk again. It feels like someone oiled my hips. I feel like I'm gliding instead of shuffling." One of the most interesting findings came from a mobility study in Washington. Adults who practiced a simple hip glide routine for just 1 minute a day increased their step length, a major indicator of youthful movement, by up to 18% in 4 weeks. Not from walking more, not from exercising, just from gliding. And this improvement isn't about strength. It's about reawakening the joints, the stabilizers, the hip capsule, the nervous system, the walking rhythm. This is why the hip glide is so powerful for helping you feel younger. Young movement is smooth movement, and smooth movement comes from fluid hips. Here's when to use it. After sitting for a long time, before taking a walk first thing in the morning, while waiting for water to boil during TV commercials, before getting into the car, before going upstairs. Anytime your hips feel stiff, your hips don't need deep stretching. They need movement. Gentle, consistent movement. And when you give your hips that movement, you create one of the biggest I feel younger effects in your whole body. Because once your hips glide smoothly, every step you take becomes easier. But now it is time for the final gentle move. And it may be the most important one of all. Gentle move number 3 targets the connection between your legs, your posture, and your balance. It's simple, calming, and takes under a minute, yet it can immediately make you feel lighter, taller, and more stable. Most people feel the result instantly. Let's break it down. Gentle move number 3 is something therapists often call the standing lift. It's incredibly simple, so simple that most people overlook it. But it is one of the most effective ways for older adults to instantly feel lighter, taller, and more balanced. The standing lift reawakens the body's natural support system, the deep muscles along your spine, hips, and legs that help you stand upright, stabilize your steps, and maintain youthful posture. And make no mistake, posture is one of the strongest feel younger signals your brain has. When you stand tall, even just a little taller than usual, your entire nervous system responds differently. Your breathing improves. Your walking improves. Your balance improves. Your confidence improves. This is why physical therapists call posture the quiet foundation of youthfulness, not because posture makes you look younger, but because it helps you move younger. The standing lift targets this foundation with one gentle, smooth, easy motion that activates your legs, hips, and spine together, without strain and without needing flexibility. Here's how it works. Stand tall next to a counter or chair for support if needed. Plant your feet firmly on the floor, hip width apart. Soften your knees, don't lock them. Now imagine there's a small string attached to the back of your head, gently lifting you upward, not pulling hard, not forcing anything. Just a smooth, effortless lift, like someone is helping you rise a half-inch taller. As you lift upward, something powerful happens automatically. Your spine lengthens, your ribcage opens, your hips settle into a natural position, your legs engage from the ground up, your balance system switches online. Hold this gentle lift for 5 to 7 seconds, breathe, then release. Let everything soften, and repeat the lift 3 or 4 more times. That's the entire movement, but don't be fooled by how simple it is, because inside your body, a lot is happening. When you perform the standing lift, you activate the deep core muscles responsible for stability, the glute muscles that support walking, the hip stabilizers that maintain balance, the spinal muscles that control movement quality, the leg muscles that keep you steady. And here's something almost no one knows. When you perform a gentle posture lift, your brain instantly receives more sensory information from your legs. You feel the floor more clearly. You feel weight distributed more evenly. You feel steadier. This is why many seniors report that this move makes them feel immediately younger. Not because of strength, not because of exercise, because the standing lift tells your entire nervous system, I am stable, I am supported, I am ready to move confidently. Let me share something fascinating from a mobility study in Virginia. A group of adults aged 62 to 78 practiced the standing lift for just 10 seconds at a time over 2 weeks. Researchers measured their balance, posture, and walking speed. Here's what happened. They walked 7% faster. Their steps became smoother and more even. Their balance improved on both flat and uneven surfaces. And more than half of them reported feeling more in control of my body. All from a gentle 10-second movement. This is the power of small, intentional activation. Now, when should you use the standing lift? Anytime you feel unsteady, stiff, tired, slouched, achy, or older than usual. This gentle movement resets your entire alignment, like recalibrating your body before moving again. Try it after sitting, before walking outside, before climbing stairs, during a grocery trip, while brushing your teeth, waiting for food to heat, standing in line before starting your day. The more often you do it, the better your body responds. Now let's connect all 3 gentle moves together. You've learned Move number 1. The circle of youth wakes up your joints, balance system, and lower body coordination. Move number 2. The hip glide restores smooth, youthful walking patterns and frees tight hip joints. Move number 3. The standing lift reactivates stability, posture, and your natural support system. These 3 moves work in harmony. They're gentle, they're safe, they're simple, and they blend into your daily life without requiring exercise routines or equipment. But the real magic happens when you perform them consistently. Because your body doesn't get younger from intensity. It gets younger from daily signals that say, this joint still matters, this muscle still works, this posture still serves me, this movement is still important. You don't have to fight age, you have to feed your body movement. And these moves are the easiest, safest way to do that. Now here's what I would love to know. Which of the 3 gentle moves felt the best for you? The circles, the hip glides, the lift. Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Because your journey to feeling younger doesn't start with complicated exercise plans. It starts with one small movement. And you can begin today.